Brian here. So we're in a Peugeot 3008. I just want to show you the speed limiter or cruise control, or how it works more to the point. So in here then we have this here, which is literally just behind the steering wheel. So there's a couple of functions. The first one here is a speed limiter, or move it down and you've got cruise. So to use that, all you're doing is this little roller here. I mean, you can do it from the other side, but it's probably easier, I think, if you roll it from back here. So like we were saying, once we go in, then we're up to limit, or we're down to cruise. And if you look up on the dashboard, while we're toggling through them, we're on to limit, or we're on to cruise. So I think what we'll do is we'll start off with the speed limiter. So I'm going to roll up. And you see limiter paused for the minute, because obviously we're not using it. So I've rolled up to limiter and we'll get driving. So before I get going, what I can do is, there's two more little buttons back here. So again, you're kind of top one and there's a bottom one, okay? So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and actually there's a third one then on the outside for setting and stuff like that. So again, I want to engage the speed limiter. So what I'm going to do is I can go upwards or downwards. See the plus and minus? I know it says memory, but upwards or downwards, that's basically toggling. I want to limit myself to 120, or if I keep toggling downwards, and if I hold it, I'd say it probably rolls a bit quicker. Yeah, it goes in larger increments. So I'm going to limit my speed here to, say, going up this road, 30 kilometers an hour. Okay, that's fine. We're not quite set. To activate that, I'm going to set. And when you hit that set button, you'll see limiter active comes up. So that means if I pull out this little laneway here and we start driving, so first gear, second gear, up to 30 kilometers an hour, that's it. I will immediately feel a restriction. Up into third, nothing. My foot is resting against a bit of resistance on the accelerator and it won't exceed that speed. However, if I put my foot to the floor, it will override it, which is useful in some sort of emergency situation where you need to increase speed immediately. One other thing I had noticed was, like, it says 30 in here, but you see the way there's this little orange as well on your speedo, so that just, you know, it's another visual indication. Anyway, if you're finished using that function, all you can do is literally hit this button here on the outside. So once I hit that, then we'll see it comes up as limiter paused and it's no longer available. Or what we could have done was, we could have been, again, with the limiter active, we could have just rolled back here to the zero function. And when you roll back to the zero function, it's now no longer active. The cruise control is not terribly dissimilar. So this time we're rolling down to cruise. So again, when we roll downwards, we see cruise is now available. But unlike the speed limiter, I can't set it when we're not moving. So if you look over here, if I press any of the buttons, it'll just say basically cruise control not available, speed too low. There's two ways to set the speed, the cruise control. So what you do is when you get to your desired speed, in this case maybe at 50 kilometers an hour, I can hit the set button, or alternatively, while I'm using the cruise control, I can toggle upwards by pressing the plus button, or downwards by pressing the minus button to increase or decrease the speed while I'm using the cruise control. If you're ever confused as to whether cruise control is on, if you look up here, there's a little green symbol where you've set it, and if you look in the center, there's always that green illumination in the center to let you know the cruise control is currently active. A couple of other questions that might spring to mind while you're using cruise control. First one is, if you're using cruise and you put your foot in on the clutch, well, all that happens there is basically you will decelerate while your foot's on the clutch. Once you let the clutch off, the car will then resume. It'll get back to where you had initially set the speed at, and cruise control will automatically resume. Similarly then, if you were to use the accelerator, say you want to overtake a bike or something like that, and you were doing 70 on cruise, you will be allowed to accelerate, but once you let off the pedal, it'll resume cruise at the initial 70 kilometers an hour that you had set. And I'm sure everyone knows at this stage, sorry to be painfully obvious here, the whole idea of cruise control is the car will maintain your speed, whatever speed you set, and you're not using the accelerator, which reduces driver fatigue. That's the idea. Anyway, once you're finished with cruise control, you can simply just conclude it by putting your foot on the brake. So you see here, we're cruising at kind of 51 kilometers per hour. I tap the brake pedal, the green disappears, and that means now it's deactivated. But actually not completely deactivated. What it's done is it's paused it. It means it can be used again by doing the steps we just talked about. There's another way you can also put it onto pause, and that's literally over here by just hitting the pause button on the stock, and that will also put the cruise control onto pause. There is one last way then to get rid of it. All we need to do is look at our stock over here, and we can basically go cruise and put it back to this neutral position. So remember, this is something to understand, right? When it's in the neutral position, nothing is available. It's completely deactivated. If I go up here to the speed limiter, the speed limiter is available, but I still have to engage it. It just means it's currently available. And then I have to go through the steps I showed you to activate it. Down here with the cruise, same thing again. It's available. Doesn't mean it's on. It just means it's available. and then you have to activate using the things that I've just shown you there. And then in through here, this is the neutral setting, which means neither function is currently available. Anyway, hopefully that is a useful video. So if you're trying to figure out how your speed limiter works or your cruise control works on a Peugeot, hopefully that's giving you a better idea. Anyway, thanks a million for watching.